Right, here we go. In this video we're going to show you how to install our newly designed Molle plate. We have been through several iterations of this plate. So what is it for? What is its purpose? Its first purpose is to look cool. So we think it looks slightly more military, it gives it a military look. So Molle plates are a term used for, they have like jackets and wearable stuff with little straps. I'll put it up. I'm not sure if it's the term for this plate, but it's the best term I could come up with. So basically we have got lots of features in here. So we have got little clips that you can sort of slide out and they clip in. They're spring-loaded clips, and this is a little feature here. These funny little, these are Land Rover tie-down things that are in the boot. They're quite cheap on eBay. You can get like a set of 4 for £10. But other than the center of the bolt rusting, they're a good strap that you can put up on. They don't rattle, so we put some clips for there. We have got the top mount clips where we've got the eyelets, and you'll notice it'll work with a roof rack. It will also work without a roof rack, but one prerequisite, as you'll see as we go and do the fitting, is you will need these roof rails fitted to the Defender. So they're factory roof rails, and the top mount fits onto those. And if you've got the side ladder, and we'll go over the other side and look at the gearbox, if you've got the side ladder, obviously the side ladder mounts on these top rails in the same way, and it also mounts on these 2 points here. So we've used the original mounting points. We put some mounts here. Maybe you want a side mounted light bar if you're doing some work. We put some mounting points at the back here, so you could put a round mounted rear work light. You could link that to your reverse lights. Put an L for left, so the 2 plates are sided. We have created it, if you get square on, Tyler, we've created it so that you can still see the original badge, the original Land Rover badge at the back. Right, so let's go through some points. We're going to go through step by step, but one thing to note is that on the Land Rover you've got 2 mounting points on the left side for the ladder, but you don't have the 3rd mounting point. So we have had to install an M6 riv nut, and we'll go through that to create this rear mounting point on this side. Now let's come and have a look at the other side, Tyler. So we've done a bit of a trick with the other side. So originally the gear mount, so we have mounted the side mounted gearbox on it, which normally mounts to these. So you've got there's points under these covers here, but on this side you've got 3 mounting points. 1, 2, 3. They're already there in the car, so there's no drilling to do on this side of the car. It's just bolt on. But the gearbox normally mounts with 2 little plastic bands that come down here and then go on these front and rear mounting points. But we've actually managed to mount the gearbox with the gearbox, I guess that's what it's called, a gearbox, with some spacers, and we'll show you. We might do an additional video separate for mounting this, but actually what this Molle plate allows you to do, if you want it to mount, and I'm going to do this, if you want to mount your Molle plate on the other side, your gearbox on the other side, you can. Now it does stick out about that much further, but we still think it's in line, certainly with the wing mirrors and stuff, because on the Defender it's quite deceiving. You can see it with the roof rack. I'll try and do an aerial shot, but the Defender's a lot wider at the front and it narrows down at the back. So I think even with the gearbox here, I think it's still a lot thinner than the front of the car. Right, where should we go? Is that enough waffling done, Tyler, or should we start doing the fitting? So I'm now going to take this off my car and show we will sell the left hand Molle plate, because if you've got a ladder and you haven't got a gear carrier, you might want just the left. If you've got the side carrier and not a ladder, we'll sell you just the right, or we'll do the pair together. So you can have left, right, or a pair. We'll try and be as flexible as we can in the formats we sell them. The plate is made from aluminium, so it shouldn't rust. It's lightweight. Right, let's get on. So we'll now take all this off. We'll join you again in the workshop. We've washed the car. We'll get it in the workshop, and we will show you step by step how to fit these. Right, so we are inside. We have the kit. I'm going to talk you through the fitting kit. We have taken everything off the car. This is the 2nd time we've done this video, isn't it, Tyler? Yep. So we've got no excuses, Tyler. We've got to be good. No rubbish average videoing. Right, so let's have a look at the kit. So you have 2 plates, and one of them has got an L on the top for left, and the other one has got an R on the top here for right. Right. They are sort of symmetrical but reversed, but there's a couple of differences. And again, the main difference, we mentioned it outside earlier, is this M10 bolt. So this is the fitting kit. Let me talk you through the fitting kit. So the lower mounts have for the left-hand side, I gotta check, left-hand side, yes. The rear mount, you have to drill and insert the riv nut, and we'll go through that. And then you have a smaller M6 bolt that goes through that, and you have a spacer. And then the other waist rail bolts, you've got the M10 bolts, and we've got these nice flanged heads, so when they're fitted, they're all nice and flush and smooth. Through the spacer into the pre-existing M10 fitting on your waist rail, which on the left side would normally be used. These two would normally be used for the ladder, but we'll go into that a bit more. On the other side, you've just got the 3 M10s, all the same, because you have 3 fittings already on your car on the right hand side. Right, then these little amalgamation of parts here, this is the top mount. Oh yeah, and Tyler's just remembered, he's slipping it into the video. No one will notice. No one will notice. You need that as well. Right, this is the top mount, and this needs some sub-assembly, but basically this is a little spline. It's got splines on it here. Okay, and then that fits in right there, and when you can push it into that little plastic, and that is going to slot into the roof rails that you need to have pre-fitted on your car, and that is going to give us the top mount. And then we are going to put this little clamp ring, and then that's going to squidge onto that top rail. Notice when we go to fit this, this side is wider than that side, so this side we are going to go onto the inside. Then we're going to put that on. That will clamp it to stop it sliding. And then we are going to put a spring washer and a hook on the top. Now, if you want, we could just put a dome nut. If you don't want the tie down, that's fine. Right. So that is that. So that will give us our top mounts, and we will put those in and slide it. Right. Where are we going now, Tyler? Where are we going now? So the waist rail. So your car may have a virgin waist rail that has no holes drilled in it. Now, the waist rail is relatively easy to pop out, and we've covered this on the ladder fitting video and the side gearbox fitting video. So you can get a little tool in from the side, okay, and this will pop out. It feels a bit brutal, and you think, oh, like that. But we've had this on and off how many times, Tyler? Too many. 30 plus times. And these clips still clamp as good as the day they were new. Now, one thing to note here is that you will note these little clips here. Can you like a sort of bird's beak or something? But around them you've got this neoprene rubber. Because where you've got these clips, and these clips go into these sort of slotty holes here, that is actually inside your car. So water ingress is a potential issue. So that is why you have got these clips, these things on here. So it sucks right up against it. And that's also why you've got this weather strip here, I think, is to stop the water running down and potentially going into your bolts. Now, where you put your bolt in, there's a slight risk of water ingress there. So you could add some silicone when you put the bolts in, if you like. They'll still be able to be removed, but you could put some thread lock or some silicone to prevent water ingress. But we'll discuss that if I remember nearer the time. Right. So once you've taken this rail out, you now need to drill these holes. Now, again, this is Land Rover's genuine instructions. You need to drill these 2 holes if you're fitting the ladder. So this is also a key point. The mounting points we're using here, with the exception of the one we're going to create at the back here, hold on, the one we have created here, they're all genuine points, and these would take the weight of a ladder. So this point here and the grips on the top here, that would be the weight of a person standing on a ladder. So I think they're more than capable of taking the mold plate, especially as we've got the extra one. Certainly on the other side of the car, the right hand side, the 3 mounts are all genuine mounting points. So it was designed to take these forces. So that is a key point to mention. Right, so there we go. Now, in creating this extra rib nut, so we'll go through this in a second. If you want to sell your car and you want to remove your mold plate, you can buy new waste rails. Your waste rail will have a hole. But there is, once you put a new waste rail back over it, your car is back to new. No one will ever know you have fitted an accessory. And the same is true for a ladder. If you want to take the ladder off, you're going to have to buy a new waste rail. Right, are we good, Tyler? Right, templates. Now, Julian, while we've been filming, he's dumped some new templates for us. So let's use one of these. So this template we have designed, and we've designed it with left, and then you turn it over and right. So we are left, okay? And it lines up. This is actually to line up on this strip here. And this will tell you, if you line it, let me put it on the car. It'll be easier to show. Julian designed it with it on the car. Now I've shown you how to take it off. There we go. As you can see, they clip back on easy enough. So you've got a little this way up sign. If you line it up to the start here, then this will give you the points. Now Land Rover don't give you anything, and then you need to line up with that bottom edge. So if you have a look there, Tyler, you can see I just bring it down so this is aligned with the bottom edge of the panel. That will tell you, you can mark the holes, and then you can actually, Land Rover said to use a 19mm drill, and we did a series of videos, didn't we, Tyler? No, we did one video with a series of attempts at how to drill a 19mm hole, and I will put the link here if I remember. There's a free beanie hat for the person that points out when I forget now. Right, so we are going to put that there. So on this one, we will have to drill 3 holes, one here, one here. We've already got these 2, and then one at the back. So I'm not going to make you watch me drilling. We've already done the video. So that will give you the points. Now you then on this side, on the other side, you've got your 3 M10s in place. It will also allow you to, it will also allow you, you can line up. It looks like you're gonna be a bit close on this side. You may, I've got it on the wrong side. Bam. Oh, there we go. There we go, look at that. So the wine glass is the right way up now, Tyler. Right, so I'm gonna have to, we're gonna have to line that up, and that should give you the location for putting that one. But don't squidge it right up. It might be easier, actually, to take your waste rail, when you've got your 3 waste rail holes, I'm going to say use that then, because that template's not working very well. I would then mark through where you've put your hole, and then fit the riv nut here, okay? So that will give you your riv nut mounting point. Right, we will insert the video when we did this previously, so I'll insert that now. So this is us inserting the riv nut. So we have made this hole here, we've drilled it, it's a 1cm/10mm hole, and we are gonna fix a mounting point in there. Now, it's a bit tricky. If you look closely, you will see there's 2 sheets of metal we're going through. Now, that is good because it means we've got a nice thick wall so we can put some load on that. But if you then go further in, there's actually another sheet of metal behind it, and we've only got 13mm from the front face here to where that other. So when you drill through, it's good. There's no wires in here, and you're not going to go ploughing all the way through, as long as you do it in the right place. And then what we're going to do, so this is our tricky riv nut tool. So what this does is this clever little wedge, as this wedge goes down, it makes this, how do I show this? Let me take this off, you'll see it better. So as this goes up and down, what it will do is it will start, as we pull it down, it will pull on that thread there, and it will start to pull on that until it gets that riv nut. Now obviously if I make the riv nut tight, it's going to try and pull this thread in. So when you use one of these tools or any rivet nut tool, make sure your thread is through to the end. Now you don't want to go any further than the end really. You want to be exactly flush with the end on this because we've got limited depth available. So right, if I put that in there now, and then if I tighten this nut on the end here, turn it the other way around, right, and then you'll feel it. Now keep it pushed in and it should start to pull itself in. Now so we've used aluminium rivet nuts because this panel is aluminium. Let me just double check that. Let me grab a magnet here. Okay. Yeah, the doors are steel. But this side panel is, there you go, aluminium. So if you use a steel rivet nut, there is a risk of some weird funky bimetallic corrosion galvanic stuff going on. Now aluminium rivet nuts are actually easier to install. You haven't quite got as much grip strength, so I don't want to go too crazy on this tool here. I should feel it getting tight on me. Getting tighter now. Right, I'm going to go with that. Right, now I've got to just wind this off. I need a 10mm for that. There you go. Right, there we go. That seems to have got a good hold on that. You can see the first bit hasn't collapsed. We've got collapsing in there, and we've got a good strength on that. Now we could do a pull test. Actually, let's grab that pull tester title. That pull test, haven't we? Right, so this is a bit like Britain's Strongest Man, a competition I'm not that familiar with. But basically, yeah, it's like for weighing sacks or your luggage. So I should be able to use this as a gauge. I found a little hook cunningly lying around the warehouse. Okay, so if I put that in there, and that in there, I should be able to give this a pull. I think if we get to 50 kilograms, we'll be doing alright, Tyler, yeah? Oh, look at that. So there we go. So we've force tested that. We're happy with that, Tyler.
Yeah.
Look at that. Product testing at its best. Oh, we need to sit down, Tyler. Right. So there we go. So that is our mounting now. So now we should be ready to mount the mold plate. Or now, bear in mind, these fixings here are M10. These are M6. So you're going to have to use some sort of adaptation or step down bolts depending what you're doing. We'll obviously get, for the products we sell to use this hole, we will get something sorted. Now, another interesting thing, obviously these holes will let water into the inside, but rivet nuts do form a really good seal. But if you were super keen, you could put a little bit of silicone around the rivet nut when you put it in. But I think that will form a waterproof seal, no problem. Right, so there we have drilled these. Now, Tyler did point out that these, if you look straight on, don't look too straight on, the holes are not dead central. Now, why aren't the holes dead central? Because Land Rover gave us some dimensions to go by and it was really hard. So that is why we've decided to produce this template so you can get them absolutely spot on when you, and if you need this template, we'll have to try and make it so if you were fitting a ladder, then that template would be much handier. So if we sell the ladders or the side gearboxes, we will provide this template with that, so it's easier than doing the measurements. Right, okay, so we have now got 3 holes and 3 mounting points. The other side you just have to do the 3 holes because the 3rd mounting point, this side you've had to rivet that on. Right, right, let's do the top mounting points now. So let's pre-assemble our little bits. There we go. Right. Now let's have, so we need 2 of those and 2 of these. Now, right, Tyler's luckily very tall. So every now and again in the roof rail there is a wider gap. Now you will notice that the 2 tops of the rail, the inner top is wider than the outer top, and the wider inner, what am I going to call it, sort of slot, groove, step. The wider step goes to the middle of your roof, and narrower step goes, and you slide that in at an angle there, and then you put one of his little hats on him. The hat goes on before, and that one's the same. Right, now these will move, okay? So, right, so that's now ready to hang the mold plate from. But before we get too carried away, when we hang the mold plate on, there is a danger that it is going to touch against the panel work here. So I would recommend putting a little bit of masking tape. Let's go to the end one. Okay. Now, it won't touch, the mold plate won't touch the bodywork when we've got all the spaces in, but when it's just hanging freestyle there, it could touch, it will touch the bodywork. Right, so let's get the correct mold plate, shall we, Tyler? Left. Look. Right, man. And then, now obviously, if you just come around the other side, Tyler, for a sec. So obviously, we don't want the mold plate over the door. It comes quite close to this panel here. So if let's have a look. That's it, right. So we got that one on. And then what we can do, we can just slide it backwards and forwards. And then you see you can slide it'll all slide to wherever we want it roughly. And obviously the intention is to line up these holes with the holes under here. So I can just let that rest on the masking tape. Right, what do we reckon, Tyler? What's the best way of doing this? The middle one was the trickier one, wasn't it? Because you could sort of see more on the... So shall I start with start in the middle? Whoa. Right, so we have got to put the washer end, the large diameter end goes against the mold plate. The small end goes into the car. And the idea is that it goes and rests against the inner, it goes through the trim strip. So we should better get that one. Now, we did talk about possibly having anti-loss washers to make it easier to assemble it all, didn't we, Tyler? Yeah. Because it's going to get a bit fiddly. This is going to be the fun bit. Right, there we go. See that there? Right. And then we're going to have to. Now you can lift. I'm gonna leave that there for a minute. 2 spring washers on next, 1 on each. Yeah. I'm not going to do them tight, but I didn't want to be lifting this and the top flying off, so at least that's not going to fly off now. Right, we've got those, and what you'll find is you'll have to lift up the mold plate a little bit until you get the... Right, so let's get... Right, so I've got those 2 started. Right. So this is the small diameter one, only used on this rear corner. Right, and let's have a look. Right, I'm going to try and see if I can get my hand in behind here. I think there's enough room, isn't there? There you go. Smallish hands, yeah. Right. Yeah. Right, and then... There we go, but make sure you don't cross-thread that in that riv nut. There we go, ease in. Right, I'll get these tightened up quickly now. Right, so I've tightened these bottom 2 up here. So they're all good. And then we will need to get these top 2 tightened. I'm gonna finish it with them facing front to back, again, as long as they're tight. And it may well be worth checking after you've done a few miles, check again that it's still, everything's still tight. There you go. So we've got those on. And remove the masking tape. Now, is that it done, Tyler? That is it done. That should be a proper job. Now, what weight loading can you take on this? So,
same as a ladder,
I guess as far as the mountains points are concerned, that's the same as the ladder. And as far as wind loading, I don't think is going to be a major factor. Obviously, anything you load, make sure you're not hanging out of your car too much. And obviously, the plate is aluminium, so if you are bolting heavy things on, make sure you're spreading the load with a big enough size washer on the other side. But in terms of being able to take the weight, I should be able to hang off this There you go, look at that. So yeah, so be sensible, load it up with product. Just be careful though, it is an aluminium plate. But you can see the mounting points. Use big washers, spread the load uniformly. We will get the rotor packs. So we are in discussions with rotor packs. They make water and petrol containers that you can put on the outside of your vehicle. Now, obviously having petrol on the outside of your vehicle does have advantages. You don't really want it inside your car. And we are going to try and get that, and we may do a version 2 plate. Right, now let's talk about one more thing. So at the start of the video, you saw I had the gearbox, lunchbox as we like to call it, on the other side of the car. Now, Land Rover don't allow you to mount it. Now, if you drill some extra holes, and I will show you roughly where, in this sort of location, and we are going to make a template, and if you then install the M6 studs, you can then mount your, but you will need longer bottom mounting bolts here. Now, if you're going to do it here, we're going to have to source a longer M6 bolt with a big washer on, because that's an M10 hole. So be careful if you do that, make sure, because it's going to mount on these two. So we might put a kit together with a longer bolt here, a longer bolt here with a big washer, or a spacer to suit that. In terms of the accessories that you can clip on it, so accessory wise, these are these rail clips that we actually use on a different, but we've modified the design here with some slots, so you can actually put it on here. And then obviously if you're camping or something and you want to put a clothesline to dry it up, or tie an awning to, or do something like that, you've got a mounting point there you can use. We looked earlier at these. You can buy these. These are in the boot tie downs on Range Rover L322s, and there's a few of them being scrapped now, and you can pick up a set of 4 of these for 10 or 20 pounds, and you can fit those onto there. You'll need to get yourself a nut to go on the other side, but that gives some quite nice looking, and you've got 4 mounting points there. We are going to mount, and this is our next video, and we have got a work light. We were going to mount a work light here so that I can mount it on the side, so if we're camping or something, we can have some light on the side. And we've got a round work light we are going to mount. In fact, let me emulate it. Imagine, Tyler, this is a work light. We're going to mount that there, so you'll be able to angle that down, and if you're doing some recovery work or something, you better do that. And what I want to do is put a switch panel into this panel here. There's lots of space behind here, so I'm going to look. We've got some switches, haven't we, Tyler? We're going to look at putting some waterproof sockets and some switches in here, so that we can control everything from a panel here. So that's where we're up to, but hopefully it will inspire you. There are some slight security advantages to this, just as a panel, because I guess it's going to be harder to smash the back window to get in. There's some privacy. One last thing we were going to talk about. We're looking at doing some stickers, because when you've got the lunchbox on the side, or the ladder, this beautiful square that old Jerry McGovern's designed is sort of, you end up with the lunchbox, which is a genuine accessory, with just this sort of strip on the door. So we're looking at, and you cover over the badge. So we're looking at maybe doing a vinyl graphic so you could cover over this. Obviously we've used the contrast to highlight our brand, and we've left the badge visible, but we'll look at some graphics for this panel to go along with this. But there we go, we will try and get that on the website. Ben's got to take the pictures, but we'll try and get that on the website in the next couple of days. But there you go, Land Rover Defender mold plate. It's a bit of a project of passion, this one, but hopefully some of you guys will like it. All right.